All right, today we're going to unpack one of the most foundational creation stories ever told. But here's the twist. We're not looking at it as theology. Nope, we're going to treat it like a blueprint, a really detailed step-by-step guide for building a world from absolute scratch. So, let's dive in. So, this is where it all begins, in pure chaos. The text calls it formless and empty. I want you to picture that. No shape, no order, not even a single ray of light. Just this dark, watery, messy abyss. This is the problem, the blank canvas, that the whole story is about to solve.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at that formless void. Then we'll see how the actual habitat gets built. After that, we'll watch as it's populated, and we'll finish up by exploring what's called the human mandate.
And of course, this whole thing is built on that famous 6-day framework. We're going to walk through it step by step to see just how logical and, well, structured this whole process really is.
Okay, Section 1. This part is all about tackling the biggest problems right out of the gate, the chaos and the darkness. These first acts are all about bringing in the most basic, fundamental kind of order.
So, what's the very first move? It's a command. And this is a pattern you're going to see over and over again. Creation happens through speech. Light is the first thing introduced, the first tool used to start pushing back against that total darkness.
But, it's not enough to just create light. The next step is to separate it from the darkness. And then, and this is super important, to give them names. Light becomes day, darkness becomes night. See, this isn't just about being able to see. It's about creating the basic rhythm of time itself.
Okay, so we've got the rhythm of day and night established. Now the story shifts into like an architectural phase. The next couple of days are all about building the physical stage where life is eventually going to happen. Remember, our world started as just a watery deep, so the next big act of bringing order is to divide all that water. A vault is created to basically push the waters apart, carving out a space right in the middle.
And yep, just like on day one, this brand new structure immediately gets a name, sky. This whole act of separating and then naming on the second day gives us the realm of the heavens up above and the waters down below.
Then on day 3, we get the last big act of separation. The waters that are down below get gathered together into one spot, and that allows a third realm to pop up, dry land. And with that, the basic architecture of the world is pretty much complete.
So let's just pause and recap. By the end of day 3, we have a complete, functional habitat. We've got day and night, we've got the sky, we've got land and seas, and the land even starts producing vegetation. It's a perfect illustration of phase 1 being complete. The stage is all set, but it's still totally empty of any animals or moving life. All right, time for the second half of the week. Now, days 4, 5, and 6 have this really cool parallel structure to the first 3. The spaces have all been formed, so now it's time to solve that second problem, the emptiness. It's time to fill them.
Okay, so day 4 circles right back to what was made on day 1, the realms of day and night. And now they get populated. The sun, moon, and stars are created, they're put up in the sky, and they're given really specific jobs to do. And their purpose is laid out super clearly. I mean, they're not just up there for decoration. They are the functional governors of the whole system. They regulate time, they mark out the seasons, and they provide light. It's all about reinforcing the order that was set up on the very first day.
Following that same pattern, day 5 populates the realms that were made back on day 2. The seas are filled with swarms of living creatures, and the sky gets filled with birds. The world is literally coming alive before our eyes.
And right here, we see something totally new. The very first blessing. This command isn't about creating something from nothing, but about proliferation, about continuing the act of creation. The creatures themselves are now tasked with filling up the realms that were just prepared for them.
And that brings us to the final day of work, the climax of this whole story. Day 6 is going to populate that last realm, the land, and it's going to introduce the story's most unique and complex creation. So, first things first, the dry land that showed up on day 3 is now filled with every kind of animal you can imagine. This completes that beautiful pattern of forming a realm and then filling it. But the work of day 6 isn't quite done yet. And this is where the narrative kinda slows down and zooms in. The language gets really unique. Humanity is described as being made in God's image, which sets them apart. And right away, they're given a specific purpose that makes them different from every other creature. So what exactly does it mean to rule? Now, that word can sound pretty intense, but the way the text presents it, it's not about domination. It's more of a mandate for stewardship, a responsibility to manage and take care of the world and everything in it.
Humanity's blessing is basically the most comprehensive one. It starts with that same instruction to be fruitful and multiply, but then it adds these two powerful new responsibilities, to subdue the earth and to rule over creation. It really places them in this unique position of oversight.
So after all that work, after 6 long days, the project is complete, and the narrative just pauses for one final overall assessment of the entire job.
And here it is. This is the big finale. Throughout the whole process, after each individual part was made, it was called good. But now, looking at the entire cosmos, complete, structured, filled, and functioning, the verdict gets an upgrade. It's very good. The whole thing is greater than the sum of its parts.
So, we've gone on this journey from a formless, chaotic void to a fully functioning cosmos, all in 6 deliberate stages. This story is just a masterclass in structure, which leaves us with a final question to chew on. Whether you read it as a metaphor or as history, what does this highly structured blueprint, this path from chaos to cosmos, really suggest about the nature of creation itself?